Time for Open Mic on News Talk 1340 and 96.3 FM KWLM.
Thank you, Todd. J.P. Cola here, along with Zach Liebl and Marv Calvin, two candidates for mayor of Willmar, although the filing deadline is still about a week away. But you guys both have your pens and your $5 bills ready to go to run for mayor. We haven't heard from Mayor Yanish yet. I did talk to him. I invited him to participate in this mayor's forum. And he was intrigued by the idea, but then he later called and declined. He said he still hadn't decided yet whether he was going to file for re-election or not, so he politely declined. But, if he does decide to run and there's a primary, we will certainly, have something like this again with all three candidates to let the folks know what's going on. But, Marv, Zach, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you, JP.
Thanks, JP, for the invite. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry you had to wear coats today, but this day before the fishing opening, it's kind of a raw one out there, so apologize for that.
Not a problem. I don't think we control the weather.
Well, speak for yourself. I got a switch underneath here. It's been stuck for the last 2 years or so in the cold position, so I need to get a hammer on that. But all right, well, actually, Zach, I think you were the one that first approached us wondering if we'd be interested in having some sort of mayor's forum, and we were happy to do it. And both you guys have been talking to different groups, haven't you? Kind of letting people know who you are and your different points of view. Zach, I think you were saying you were at the Chamber of Commerce yesterday?
Yesterday I was with the JCs.
Oh, JCs, that's right.
But, this election, I think a lot of people are going to be watching it with everything going on within the city and just kind of at that point where our city's at. And so more people are paying attention to local elections, which is a very good thing. And so it's good to get out there early, and especially for Marv and I to get our messages out there now rather than later.
Mm-hmm. Marv, I've seen you in a lot of different public occasions and events and things like that, so kind of fun to get back in the public spotlight again after being fire chief for so many years.
Yeah, it's fun to get back in and talk with people. I was at the Sertoma Club yesterday and visited with them, and was at Faith at Work yesterday morning, so I had a couple appearances yesterday just talking with people and finding out what the issues are. And, I think that when you take a look at what the community sees as those issues, I think it's very clear that the community is looking for some change in some of those positions.
All right, well, we will find out what you've been hearing and more throughout this show. That's kind of the purpose. The second half of the show, if people will have questions for either candidate, all we ask is that it be a question that both candidates can answer. You can call in the second part of the show and ask it of Zach Liebl or Marv Calvin. But I flipped a coin. Marv was the winner. So, Marv, I'll let you go first, kind of introduce yourself, talk about yourself, and let folks know who Marv Calvin is.
Well, thanks, JP. Well, again, thank you, Zach, for approaching KWLM and asking them to put this together. I think this is an excellent opportunity for us to get in front of the public and just let them know a little bit about us. Of course, a lot of people are aware. I graduated from Willmar High School back in 1974, so I'm a little smooth on the top, similar to you, JP. And after graduating, it took me across the country, so to speak. I went to the cities and got my paramedic degree, and then went out to Appleton, Wisconsin. And from there, I came back and worked in Apple Valley, and I worked for a 3-cities joint powers group that started their own third-party ambulance service. So there's where I got my first introduction to working with councils, boards, commissions, those types of things. And that was in 1985. So I've been around city government for a long time. I'm very familiar with the activities that go on at city government. I'm very well aware of how things operate, but I also am very well aware of how the Board of Governances need to happen and how those, the Charter Commission very clearly states, the city charter, how the mayor interacts with those types of things. But anyway, so that was my first introduction. From there, I went to Burnsville. I worked as a firefighter paramedic in Burnsville. And then I came back and served as Willmar's fire chief, fire marshal, the first full-time fire chief, fire marshal that the city had. And I worked with the various council members. I worked with a couple of the different mayors here in town, and also worked with Mick Schmidt as city administrator, and also worked with Charlene Stevens. So I have a good firsthand knowledge on how that works. The other thing that I'm very familiar with is the budgeting process and how the actual placing the budget together, worked on budgets both in Apple Valley, Burnsville, and here. And so I have over 18 years of experience working with city budgets. And that's a very important part. Of course, we need to be fiscally responsible. And then the other part of it is now I work for MnSCU, working as the fire liaison, working with 13 campuses, providing fire training across the state of Minnesota.
And Marv, I remember before you came to the Willmar Fire Department, there was a little bit of, I don't want to say turmoil, but a little bit of a questioning on how the department should be run. For a while there, we had Chief Strutman, who was a public safety director, who was running both the city police and fire department. And before that, before he took over, there was a little bit of a controversy there on some of the leadership. So you kind of stabilized the department there into what it is right now with a fire chief and a fire marshal.
Yeah, that's correct, JP. The council at that time did see that it was imperative to have a fire chief, fire marshal working at the fire station, working with the firefighters. Willmar has always had excellent firefighters. They've done a great job. They're very committed to this community. They give back hundreds of hours of time, and I was very fortunate to have worked with that tremendous team of people. There was some turmoil at that time, you are correct, but one of the things that I bring to the table is my ability to calm storms, so to speak. And I think that if you looked at my history and go back and look at that, I've done that in numerous organizations. In the current organization I'm in as well, there was tremendous turmoil, and I've been able to bring calm to that. So I do have that proven leadership. I've done that in numerous organizations, successful in most, not all. But at the end of the day, every organization I've been a part of is better when I've left than when I came in. So.
And I know when you made your announcement at the fire hall, your wife was there and grandkids. I think one of your kids was on Skype there. So you want to talk about your family a little bit?
You bet. I've been married to my wife since 1977, so we've been married for quite some time. She continues to put up with me and all my endeavors that I get into. When we talked about this new endeavor, running for mayor, she said, well, here we go on our next adventure. So she's excited about that. So she's an RN, works up at Paynesville in an assisted care facility. She's been in long-term care her entire career and enjoys giving back to the elderly. I've got a daughter who lives out in Priam. She has 5 children, and so I have 5 grandchildren from her and then 2 from my son in Burnsville. And you're correct. Technology is a big part of what we do today, and I was very fortunate. My daughter-in-law was working on the ambulance down in Northfield. She Skyped in, and my son is a police officer, works for the city of Savage, and he Skyped in. So we had both of them able to connect through technology at the announcement. So my son has 2 children, so we have a total of 7 grandchildren, and we enjoy spending time with them.
Now, of course, you had a house or have a house on a lake. Is it Lake Florida?
Lake Andrew.
Lake Andrew up north. And you decided to, of course, if you're going to be mayor of Willmar, you had to move into the city proper, and you moved into Willmar. So you got a house now in Southwest Willmar, right? You
bet. We have a home over by St. Mary's Church. We're very fortunate, very blessed to have ran into Tim and Jean Johnson, for those people that know them. He was the dean of students over at the junior high, and they were looking to move down to the metro. As a matter of fact, they'd been living there for some time, and their home was on the market, so we were able to negotiate an agreement. My wife and I bought a home here in Willmar, so we are living over on Southwest 11th Street, 619, if you want to stop by and have a cup of coffee. Coffee's always on.
So you bought Tim Johnson's house, but not the city council member, Tim Johnson.
Not the city council member, or not the finance guy over at Lake Region Bank, or a couple other Tim Johnsons. I think there's 3 or 4 of them in town.
Yeah, that's the problem. If you have a common name, you hope all the other guys have good reputations. So you're that guy, someone comes up and punches you in the face. So.
Yeah. Well, I've had people come close to that, but it's never happened.
Okay, all right. Zach Liebl, tell us a little bit about yourself. I first met you a couple of years ago when you were running for the House of Representatives, and tell us about Zach Liebl.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, JP, and thanks again for holding this. This is definitely a good thing for the people in Willmar to be hearing us now this early on. I was born here in Willmar. I was born actually at Rice Hospital and born and raised in and around the Willmar community. I lived in Wilmer until the late 90s, and then my parents built a house out at Diamond Lake. And then I moved back into town when I went to Ridgewater. I was homeschooled through junior year of high school, and then I went post-secondary at Ridgewater, where I then graduated from and got my 2-year degree from there. And then I went on to St. John's, and that actually was a really nice window because back in high school, I always was really getting into the community mindset and getting involved with trying to build better society. And so with that, I actually joined the National Guard when I was 17, where I was a combat engineer based out of Litchfield unit. And then with my prior service and then having my 2 years completed at Ridgewater, St. John's University offered me a full ride if I went ROTC up there, where in 2010 then I commissioned as an Army officer, and then I went to the engineer school and became an engineer officer for them, where actually I'm currently stationed at the 850th Horizontal Engineering Unit out of Cambridge, Minnesota, with our battalion headquarters here in town. And I just finished up I was platoon leader there for a number of years, and then I moved on now. I was company commander for the past year up there, which was very exciting, very good experience, working with all those different individuals. I had to deal with I was responsible for $42 million worth of equipment, over 50 individuals. It was a lot of responsibility, but it was really good experience, and everything went amazing this past year there. After I graduated from St. John's, I was...
Go Johnnies,
right? I agree. I lived in St. Cloud for about 8 months because I wasn't planning on moving back to Wilmer originally. And then I started just thinking about it more and more, and I'm like, no, Wilmer's my hometown. So moved back here. And that was then in 2012, I decided to run for the House of Representatives. I got asked to run on the independence ticket. And that was a great experience, the campaign experience, but also getting to know our community even better and what we have to offer was really exciting. And then the tremendous support, because we actually did the best out of an independent candidate in the entire state for the House. And that was really good. It's encouraging because it's nice to know we do have free thinkers within our community too that are looking at those candidates, which is very encouraging. When I came back to the community, I worked for a year-long position at Habitat for Humanity as their volunteer and family services coordinator, where I went in and redeveloped their volunteer recruitment and process for them, and then worked with their family programs, and then also helped kickstart the A Brush with Kindness, which is an exterior home repair program for our community. And then also in July 2013, I started working as the outreach coordinator for the community-owned grocery, which is very exciting, which actually work with Marv. Marv's on the board over there, too. So that's a really cool community-wide effort that is, people from all backgrounds, all different, everything are part of that, and that's really exciting for us. And then I also work on Mondays, and once in a while fill in. My mom owns Cornerstone Coffee here in town, so
cool.
Go over there.
And
that's
she works here too.
Yes, and she works here at the station too. But that's really more of my social time every Monday, I would say. Actually, it's a lot of the Old Town Talk people that are there, and it's really fun getting to know those individuals. But then I do a lot of different things throughout our community. I am on the Barn Theater Board, actually, with you, JP.
Yes.
Been there for a while. I am the chair of the Economic Restructuring Committee for what was the Wilmer Design Center, and it's just been changed now to the Wilmer Downtown Development Incorporated. And then I am on the interim board for the Technical Academies of Minnesota. It's going to be called Dream Academy, which is the new charter school starting this fall out at Midwest campus.
Yeah.
So we're very excited with that. That's going really well, and that's a great opportunity for just another option for education, so for individuals. And then I'm a Chamber Next member. I'm a member of the Wilmer Rotary Club. And then I was very honored this last December to receive the West Central Tribune's Business to Business did a 5 individuals, 5 under 40 is what it was called. And it was for 5 individuals throughout West Central Minnesota that have been making an impact and a difference for our community here in West Central Minnesota. So that was really cool to get. Very humbling for that. And then also this past year I started getting involved with the Vision 2040 effort. And that's really where a lot of the momentum for me to run for mayor really started coming out of that, because when they did the Vision 2040 effort, one of the top 4 main goals of that is to develop and get the next generation of leaders on board and step up now, so that way when it is time that my generation is mandatory to take over, we will be ready and prepared, and we can start taking our vision now and start implementing that. So from that, I had individuals from the business community, the nonprofit sector, the educational community, they were all asking me to consider running because they believe right now is the time for my generation to really step up and make that difference, because we're going to be able to bring in that new perspective. And we have different approaches to things. We're a lot more, like we were talking about, technologically savvy. We believe in bringing in different approaches. We're very good. My generation is very good at listening and being active listeners and taking in what all sides have to say to come up with the best solution. So really started formulating that, and then back in December in November I said, yes, I'm for sure doing it, and then I announced in December this past year. And it's been going absolutely amazing. This community's support has been very overwhelming. It's very cool.
Now, you're, 26?
I am 25 years old right now.
25 years old. I was going to ask if you're married, but I would hope you're not, because of all the things that you do, that person would be sitting home alone, wondering where the heck Zach is. So
correct. I'm not married and no children.
All right. Well, good to see young people involved, and you mentioned you talked to the JCs yesterday, and they're a group that's hoping to rebuild their ranks there, and there's also other groups like with the Chamber of Commerce, the Next group. So there are different facets here for young people to get involved in what's happening in their community.
Exactly, and there's been more push now lately, because it's been interesting, especially since the 2010 census. We know that our city's average age is actually going down right now, and we've grown 6% since 2010 as a community, and we are one of the very few rural communities in Minnesota that are seeing that happen. Most communities, that is an aging community, but we're not, and so we need to be prepared with that and start being actively pursuing that now, because we need to be active rather than reactive later on when it's too late.
Yep, and Marv, Zach, the population is now over 20,000. We finally cracked that mark there, and as you mentioned, a lot of them are younger families, a lot of them immigrants coming in from Somalia and the Latin American area. So with that growing population, you also have some growing pains. And I know that the school district is working through some of those, but it's a nice problem to have, dealing with growth, than worrying about closing down buildings and laying off people. It's kind of a nice problem to have, right?
Exactly. Especially working through with the design center. My group is focused on downtown, and we know there's a housing issue downtown. There's a lack of housing and a mixed housing for different income levels too. But at the same time, it's a problem, but it's a good problem to have, because we know our community is growing, and that is very good for us.
Sure.
The thing of it is, with our newcomers that are coming into our community, and we like to call them the newcomers because they're the people that are coming either back to the community or coming here for the first time. Zach and I this morning were at a Chamber Connection event at the library, and there was a lady there that I visited with, and she just moved recently from Minneapolis. So when we talk about the newcomers, we're not talking about the East African population, the Somali population, the Latino population. We're talking about all people that move back to our community. And Zach is right in the fact that our community is getting younger. But if you take a look, we're living longer, but our community is getting younger. And at the same time, we have to embrace all of our different thought processes. And I think the advantage we have here within Willmar and Candiotway County, because we really need to look at ourselves as a regional center. And when we look at that strong regional center, what's going to bring us to the top of that is having good people that want to work at all levels. And that starts from the entry-level position, where you go in and work a labor job, similar to what I did when I got out of high school, to the executive level and CEO level. We need people at all those levels. And talking with people in the labor force, there's openings in Willmar for all of those positions. So if you're listening to this and you're outside of Candiotway County or outside of the city of Willmar looking for a job, we encourage you to come to Willmar, because it's a great place to work, great place to live, great place to raise your family, and there's tremendous opportunity here. And we would welcome all comers, no matter what your ethnic background is and your age. We want you here in Willmar. We need you here in Willmar, because you're the economic engine that's going to drive this community forward.
All right, we need to take a break. We're getting down near the bottom of the hour here, so we will be back and look at some of the different issues that are happening in the Willmar community that we'd like to get your views on. But right now, we'll take a break. We will be back on Open Mic with Zach Liebl and Marv Calvin in about 12 minutes.
Have you ever performed CPR on your farming equipment? CPR, that's Combine Preseason Repairs. At Kibble Equipment, your John Deere dealer, we know how to bring your equipment back to life. Our John Deere service team will inspect your combines top to bottom to make sure they're ready to harvest. You don't have time to break down out in the field. Proper combine maintenance is a must. Call your local Kibbel Equipment service team today or visit us at www.kibbleeq.com.
Hi, this is Sandy from GNS Staffing, and I'm looking for college students, teachers, retirees, anybody looking to make money this summer. That's right, I said summer. GNS is gearing up for the summer road construction season, and we need flaggers, equipment operators, and laborers. We also need people willing to work out of state. Call or come in today to GNS Staffing. We have work for you.
Mom always told you to save your money. Well, think how proud Mom would be knowing you shop at Cashwise. Hi, this is Corey from Cashwise Foods. This week, save on Totino's Party Pizzas, 10 for $10. Seedless red grapes, only $1.67 a pound. Or Kemp's half-gallon orange juice, just $1.88. And don't forget your free item a week, 2 cans KC Masterpiece Baked Beans, free with coupon and $30 purchase. Make sure to wish Mom a happy Mother's Day. Cashwise Foods, always number one at low, low prices.
Cashwise Foods.
Hi, I'm Mary Swatsky, your representative for District 17B at the State Capitol. The 2014 legislative session is underway, and as your voice at the Capitol, your ideas and feedback are important to me as we work to grow our economy and make government serve you better. I'm Mary Swatsky, and I'm working for you. Please contact me on the web at marysawatsky.com.
Paid for by Mary Sawatsky for State Representative. On the web at marysawatsky.com.
Just about 10:30, we'll get the news next from MNN, then I'll have your forecast, the markets, and then part 2 of Open Mic, our mayoral candidates in this morning, talking with JP. That's coming up.
If it's happening now, hear it now. On News Talk 1340 and 96.3 FM, KWLM.
From the newsroom, good morning, I'm Brent Palm. The 6th annual The State of Manufacturing Survey finds 84% of executives are confident about the future of their firms. Enterprise Minnesota CEO Bob Kill says 62% expect manufacturing wages to increase this year.
I was surprised last year it didn't show up more strongly, but it showed up very strongly this year, which is a reflection of overall, good benefits, and now wages are ticking up because the demand is higher.
48% expected higher wages in the 2013 survey. Kill says the biggest concerns of executives are finding and retaining qualified workers and health care costs. The Mayo Clinic is celebrating its 150th anniversary tonight in Rochester. Former NBC News anchor and Mayo Board of Trustees member Tom Brokaw is hosting the sesquicentennial event. Governor Dayton will also speak and issued a statement saying, quote, Mayo has grown from an enterprise of 2 committed and caring brothers to the finest medical institution in the world. The evening will feature live performances and stories of people whose lives have been touched by Mayo. And Minnesotans are reminded to plan for a sober ride as they head out for the fishing opener. Law enforcement will be out in full force in 25 Minnesota counties with the highest number of drunken driving deaths and alcohol-related serious injuries over the past 3 years. And that's the latest from the newsroom.
In the beloved fairy tale classic, Beauty and the Beast, Belle is imprisoned in the castle of a mysterious beast. But with the assistance of the castle's enchanted staff, the two become unlikely friends, discover that true beauty is found within, and they live happily ever after.
Today, our happily ever afters are being threatened by the fact that nearly 1 in 3 children in America are overweight or obese. Now more than ever, it's time to make good nutrition and physical activity part of your family's daily lifestyle. Do things like eat dinner together, add fruits and veggies to every meal, save treats for special occasions, and get up and play an hour each day. Be our guest to healthy living and visit letsmove.gov to learn more. That's letsmove.gov. This message has been brought to you by Let's Move, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the Ad Council.
Let's check your Weather Eye forecast. That's brought to you by Midwest Vision Centers.
Don't miss the Customer Appreciation Sale at Midwest Vision Centers in Candy Mall, May 8th through 10th. You'll find glasses for your entire family, including designer brands you know and love. Save 50% off frames and lenses, including high-definition and transitions lenses, 50% off sunglasses, and 25% off contact lenses. The Customer Appreciation Sale, May 8th through 10th at Midwest Vision Centers in Candy Mall.
Bringing life into focus. Midwest Vision Center.
We have chances of showers today. Looking for cloudy skies much of the noon hour at least. Perhaps some sun later today. 59 our high. Breezy northwest winds at 15 to 25 and gusting a little higher. Tonight, mostly clear, a low of 42. A northwest wind at 10 to 15. Tomorrow, showers likely, perhaps a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Partial sun and 66. Winds will let up a bit. 60% chance of rain, though. Less than a tenth of an inch expected. Could be higher in thunderstorm areas. Shower chances until about midnight, then tomorrow night, mostly cloudy, 48 your low. Sunday, a chance of showers in the afternoon, mostly cloudy, 63. Less than a tenth of an inch of precip on Sunday. Showers likely Sunday night, cloudy skies at a low of 46, a 70% chance. A tenth to a quarter inch is possible. Showers likely on Monday, a 60% chance at a high of just 57. Tuesday, chance of showers, partly sunny and cool at 56. Wednesday, 56. Thursday, 57. So highs well below the norm all week next week, it looks like. We didn't get there yesterday either, just 58 our high, 45 the low. 3,200ths of an inch of precipitation yesterday and the evening. 7/10 of an inch for May the 8th from midnight to midnight. Sunset tonight at 8:36. In Wilmer, a west wind at 20 to 25. Cloudy skies and 47.
Something you want to buy, sell, or trade? Tune in weekdays at 11:40 for the Swap Shop with Todd Burgett on News Talk 1340 and 96.3 FM KWLM.
Good morning. It's time now for the mid-morning market report here on the Linder Farm Network. Chicago Board of Trade corn futures slightly higher. July up 3.5. July soybeans down 6 3/4. November up 1/4 cent. July Chicago wheat down 4.5 at mid-morning. USDA will be releasing a report at 11. Joining us, Mark Peterson, United Farmers Cooperative with headquarters in Winthrop, to talk about markets just ahead of that report.
Well, Linda, I think like any other report, when we have it, we'll get those numbers out at 11 o'clock, and for 15 minutes we'll trade them very aggressively, up and down, I'm guessing. But really what the market thinks about this report and how it interprets it won't be known until about 1:15 and these markets close. You hear a lot of guesses. The ranges are really wide. A lot of analysts are figuring that we have had good exports in corn and soybeans. However, today there's a whole lot of stories about beans coming in from South America and how far they're going to move up the rivers and who's going to process them. There was a story that Mount Vernon, Indiana plant was now buying beans to process at 30 cents under their domestic price. So a lot of stories. The report is going to come out right now. Old crop beans are down 6, probably on some of those stories about beans coming in, and new crop is unchanged, and corn is about unchanged, and wheat, having caught some rains over the last couple of days, is trading down 5 to 6 cents.
And what are you hearing as far as wet conditions in the Montgomery area to the Winthrop area at this point?
The farther west you go, the more is that's in the ground that they haven't gotten the rains that we have right here, and I think it's probably Montgomery down towards you and Owatonna. Yesterday we just got dumped on with over 1 to 2 inches in a very short period of time, so I'm afraid we're out of the planning mode for, I'm going to say at least till after the weekend, and then we're going to need some warm, windy weather to get us going.
And what about the livestock markets?
Well, Linda, we've got pretty much unchanged today. We've got the cash market the packer seems to have all that he wants, and we have backed up the futures market on hogs a bit here, but still they are well above cash, and the packer is not bidding aggressively. Cattle, on the other hand, is holding here. I hear a lot of bids in the 145 to 146, and we've got June futures at 137, which makes me wonder which way are they going to come together. The market still wants those cattle, though.
Mark Pete Peterson, United Farmers Cooperative with headquarters in Winthrop. July corn, $5.20 up 4. December up 1. July soybeans, $14.62 3/4 down 6 3/4. November up 1 cent. July wheat down 4 3/4. July Minneapolis wheat $8.03 down 2 3/4. And live cattle June in the E-Trade, $137.82 down 10. August up 17. Feeder cattle August up 47. June lean hogs, $120.37 up 22, and July up 107. This is the Linder Farm Network.
Greener World Solutions can help you update your insulation to prevent hog barn corrosion. As seen in the Land magazine, their top-off insulation program on hog barns will increase the R value and will decrease heat loss, thus decreasing condensation so you can say goodbye to corrosion. Greener World Solutions' top-off insulation program for hog barns starts as low as 23 cents per square foot.
Greener World Solutions, we are insulation.
I wish I could apply all the PK and micronutrients this crop needs at planting.
You can. When your soils are not excessively nutrient deficient, you can apply a whole season of PK and micronutrients when you plant and get top yields at harvest. AgroLiquid's exceptional nutrient compatibility and superior efficiency allows you to prescription apply everything your crop needs safely and conveniently. Research proves it. For more info, go to agroliquid.com.
That's our mid-morning market update.
Are you looking for fast and accurate help getting your pre-merge herbicides applied this spring? This is Mike Filzen with Co-op Country Farmers Elevator, and we have what you need. Our fleet is GPS guided with automatic boom height and nozzle shut-off controls. We can also apply your fertilizers with the same accuracy and are able to write prescription blends for variable rate spreading of your fields. Call your agronomist at Co-op Country in Olivia, Danube, Renville, or Sacred Heart to get more details on how we can help you during planting season.
The month of May includes the celebrations of Armed Forces Day and Memorial Day, as we recognize those who have served throughout our nation's history, those who currently serve, as well as their families, and to honor the memory of those who paid the ultimate price for our freedom. Whenever you see someone in uniform, especially this month, be sure to express your gratitude for their service.
The Central Lakes Cooperative salutes those who serve in our military and those who gave their lives protecting our freedoms. The Central Lakes Cooperative of Atwater and Wilmer.
Power that lies within, beauty that will make heads turn, a legend of capability, the Jeep Grand Cherokee. From the luxurious Overland to the aggressive SRT, Jeep exceeds its reputation as one of the world's leading SUVs. This is Kevin Renicky. The Dodge 100-year event is going on at Olivia Chrysler Center. Give purpose to your driving passion. Our experienced sales team will help you achieve it. We are Olivia Chrysler Center, located on Highway 212 and 71. Jeep, where incredible adventures begin.
You'll find the right mower for your needs at Mike's Small Engine Center in Wilmer. At Mike's, you'll find a great selection featuring Snapper and Ferris. With Snapper walk-behinds, you'll enjoy a great selection of push and self-propelled mowers. And don't forget the Snapper lawn tractors. The Ferris Commercial Zero Turns set the standard with the best suspension available. You'll mow with comfort on the small IS600Z up to the massive IS3100Z series. And you'll want to check the front mount F800X. And keep in mind, they service everything they sell and more. Mike's Small Engine Center across from the VFW on East Highway 12 in Wilmer.
Interested in a career in broadcasting? The Minnesota Broadcasters Association offers a number of scholarships for college students.
Today, a career in broadcasting extends beyond the airwaves. Broadcasters need to communicate across a variety of media platforms. Radio and TV stations are looking for people who are creative, tech-savvy, and quick on their feet.
Are you the future of broadcasting?
For more information on the scholarship and an application form, log on to wilmerradio.com.
Let's get back now for part two of Open Mic.
All right, thank you, Todd. J.P. Kohler here, along with Zach Liebl and Marv Calvin, both candidates for the city of the office of mayor of the city of Wilmer. And we've been the first part of the show, kind of getting to know the candidates a little bit, some of their personal information. Now let's talk a little bit about your thoughts on some of the issues that are facing Willmar. And I know some of the things that have probably made the most headlines with the city of Willmar in the last year or so have been some of the conflicts that we've heard, interpersonal relationships between the mayor and the council and the city administrator, and that whole triumvirate there. Had a couple studies done last year, the Brimmeyer-Fersman report. There was also that retreat that took place out at Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center. And, let me ask you first, Zach, your thoughts on just standing by and observing what's kind of been going on, the dynamic on the city council, and what you would do to try to stop that.
Yeah, JP. Well, if anybody knows me, I like to take things in a very positive mindset because positivity is always going to make the best outcomes for individuals. And with that, there's obviously some conflict there. There's people with different ideologies, different approaches to what they believe is best for the city. But all those individuals that are elected officials here in town, I do believe they have the city as their best interest, and they need to remember that about the other individuals on the council. They might have a different idea or an approach to solve a problem or something, but they all have the city as their focus, and that's how it needs to stay, that they do have the city as their main focus. Now, especially from military training, well, a lot of my jobs is a lot of outreach and a lot of outreach coordination, and from the military is learning to listen to people. The best leaders are listeners. The best leaders, though, do also take what they've listened to and apply it to what is going on to find the best outcomes and the best solutions, and making sure everybody is getting involved rather than just a couple vocal individuals, because everyone does have something to bring to the table, and you're never going to get the best solution to a problem if you're not willing to look at all sides of that problem. Because I know in military standpoint, when we're coming up with a mission plan or something, you always have your main plan. But then you run that plan through different angles and different scenarios and different approaches because you need to have contingency plans. And that helps you formulate the best plan to carry out that mission. And a lot of that can be applied to policy making especially. And there's nothing wrong with trial and error. If somebody has an idea for a new policy, see if it's been done in other cities first, obviously. But if you want to try new policies, that is fine. You can always retract a policy later on, too.
You know, one thing I hear quite a bit about, from some of the council members is that it seems like everything is already predetermined, pre-decided before they even get to the council meetings. And I think maybe some of that, lends to maybe increased transparency of what's going on, both in front of the scenes and behind the scenes.
Yep. And actually, I just got asked that last night at JC's about, should all of the meetings be recorded and such like that. And obviously, our city council meetings are recorded. They're on public access. And then maybe committee meetings, having audio recordings of those committee meetings, that is just fine. However, if somebody's going out with for a cup of coffee with another council member to really discuss an issue, I mean, that is between two individuals talking about a policy and trying to find solutions to this. I would hope that was their main goal of those meetings, and that is just fine. It would be no different if Marv and I got together for a cup of coffee to talk about a policy that might be coming up at the city to see what is our approach, what do we think is best, is there an issue with it? Because we're in Minnesota, and we know a lot of the best solutions are solved around a cup of coffee anyway.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, exactly. I'll agree to that, says the son of a coffee shop owner. So
correct.
Now, Marv, you've been, sitting at many, many city council meetings. You've seen council members come and go and administrations come and go, and I'm sure you've probably been shaking your head at some of the things that have been coming out of the council lately. Your thoughts on some of the conflicts and how you would make things a little bit more peaceful?
Well, GP, I think that's one of the strengths I bring to the table is a strong leadership presence. And in that strong leadership presence, you can ward off some of those issues that come up. People need to be heard because they're elected by the membership and they're elected by the community. So they need to be heard on what the issues are. And they need to speak their piece. But when the issue continues to circle around the same issue and the conversations around the same issue, strong leadership would then move you forward to come into a conclusion to that. So what I would do is I would bring strong leadership, proven leadership to the table, and we would allow those discussions to happen, but would move forward in a positive direction.
It seems like people have long memories that things come up that you voted against this, and in the past, even after something's already been solved, several meetings ago, some of this stuff comes up. So maybe a strong leader can kind of squelch that type of...
Yeah, and I think that strong leadership is what is really needed in those situations, is to remind people that we talked about that in the past. That's behind us. If we want to bring that back to committee, let's go back to committee with it. But when we come out of committee, let's have consensus, let's move forward, and then let's continue looking to the future, because if we're looking at our feet, we're never looking at where we're going. We need to have that visioning process as well. The council is to set policy, set direction, and from that, staff is supposed to implement that policy in that direction. And if that's not being done, that needs to be addressed.
Would you support broadcasting the finance and the community development and public works, meetings?
The committee meetings?
Yes.
I think that should be recorded and available for people to listen to, but I'm not sure that broadcasting them is a cost-effective use of government. We would have to have employees there to record those, so I'm not sure that videotaping those would be a good idea, but I think the recording should be made available, which they are currently. If you go onto the web, the city's website, you will be able to download those individual committee meetings so that you could listen to them. So that is already being done.
All right, next question, and we'll start off with Marv. Jennie-O Turkey Store is currently in the midst of, ready to launch a big expansion out at the industrial park. And I know there have been some questions, some criticisms of the city's role in offering them certain incentive packages to do this, like the land buy down policy, abatements, tax increment financing, and so forth. Marv, your thoughts on, what a city can do to help a company that's obviously, it's a huge company, it's owned by an even huger company. Some feel maybe they don't need the help that the city would give them. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I have to give a little pitch out for Jennie-O. Jennie-O's a good community partner. I'm on the YMCA board. I was the chair of the YMCA board last year. They made a tremendous donation to kick that off the ground, so they are an excellent community partner. With that being said, and your question is more about tax increment financing and benefits given to a large company or even a smaller company, I think we need to support our homegrown businesses. That's what's going to bring new business. That's what's going to bring growth to our community. That's what's going to bring economic development. We need to support that. I think the council made the right decision. I think that tax increment financing, if you take a look at where we are percentage-wise, we're using 0.5% of the available funds for tax increment financing. There's only one tax increment financing district within the city of Willmar after the council approved this one. So we only have one. At one time we had between 16 and 17 different tax increment areas. And we have tremendous growth that we can use in that area. We should use every tool available to us because everybody else is using it. We should use the tools to bring those businesses to our community, because having the employees and having those jobs in Willmar is what is going to solve and keep our economy growing strong. Willmar grew through the downturn in the economy and seen a very small drop in the economy. And the reason is that for that was the agriculture. So agriculture brought us to the dance. Agriculture is going to keep us in the dance, but we have to have the other businesses along with agriculture. So I think the council did the right thing. I think tax increment financing is a tool that should be used, but staff is the ones that should be determining that, because that's what we hire staff for.
Okay. Agriculture brought us to the dance. I envision a square dance because it's agricultural, but
well, it had to be in a barn.
Yeah, barn theater. We do have a phone call, but before we go to the phone lines, Zach, your thoughts on tax increment financing, tax abatements, and different things that cities can do to help businesses grow and expand.
Definitely. With our global economy nowadays, we need to be a competitor on that market. For example, if we have Marshall, which has the four-year university, Alexandria, which has interstate access, these are some of our top competitors for business expansions, and so they have those amenities already there. So we need to be looking at why and how we can bring those companies here if they want to expand into Willmar, or even our local companies to expand, because with these different ideas, with whether it's an abatement or the TIF or the write-down policies. These are progressive approaches to helping grow our local economy that we should be looking at and encouraging. However, we do need to ensure that they are properly implemented and adhered to, but then we also need to ensure that it applies to all individuals that are looking to expand, whether it be a small business here that is looking to expand and build, whether it be 5 new full-time positions or what have you. Make sure they are given the same opportunities too as if it were a big business coming into town too, because it's our local people that really do keep us running, and they are our backbone, and then the big businesses come in and help us grow. So we need to encourage that and make sure it is, it is standard across the board, and make sure those policies are set and in place. And like I said earlier, we need to be proactive rather than reactive with these policies.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. You're on open mic. Go ahead.
Well, I don't agree with your two guests at all. This is more this trickle-down economics here, and some of us remember the days of the Farmers Produce / Genio, and, they weren't that good of a company for Wilmer, and but to give all these breaks and continue to give breaks is only going to help the very, very wealthy people in Wilmer, and there's a lot of conflict of interest, I believe, on the city council, and we will see this in the future. It has happened before, and it's in Wilmer, and it's going to continue to happen. So this doesn't work. You mentioned Marshall and Alexandria and Litchfield, and you drive through those towns, and they're busy. They're busy in there, but Wilmer, you can't even drive through the town because of what the big business have done. They've gone completely around Wilmer. They'll continue to do it, and the people that have designed this over the last 25 years are at fault.
All right. Well, thank you for the call, sir. And didn't really have a question, but kind of comments. Did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I guess. In a perfect world, it would be best if we could not give incentives or tax breaks or anything along those lines to individuals. In a perfect world, that is the best approach to growing stuff. But like I said, with our current economy, we need to be looking at new approaches to how we can help grow it. And then also, he says it only helps the wealthy. And I would mention back that, yes, this is with the write-down policy, for example. However, with Genio's expansion, with their phase 1, it is all administrative jobs with an average salary starting around $50,000 a year. And it's already projected that with those new jobs, just within our city, it will be generating over $6 million into our local economy. And that benefits everyone within our town.
Okay. Marv, did you want to add something?
Well, I agree with what Zach said on that. And we need to use the tools that are available to us. The other communities are using those tools. We should use those tools as well. And we just need to move our community forward.
Gentlemen, time flies like crazy. We've only got about a minute left. I'll give you both a chance to give a quick closing statement there. Marv?
Well, thank you, JP, for having us here. We look forward to the election process. Remember, it's your right to vote. It's your responsibility to vote. If there's a primary, that will be on August 12th. If there's not a primary, November 4th. We look forward to your votes, and do a good job for the citizens of Wilmer, and get out and vote.
And you guys will be pounding the pavement, going to the parades and stuff. Zach?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again. And exactly what Marv said. I mean, take this election serious. This is our city's future. Both Marv and I have websites. We all have our contact information on those. Please contact us. Shoot us emails. Give us phone calls. We're all more than happy to meet with you for a cup of coffee and ask each of us your questions on policies. Get to know each of us individual, because we have similarities, but we definitely have differences too. And we would be bringing different approaches to how we want to move our city forward. So make sure you know that and be an informed voter.
All right. And that'll do it for Open Mic. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in, and I'm sure we'll have more of these types of forums in the future as the election comes up. But that is it for Open Mic. I'm JP Cola. Back to you, Todd.
All right, thanks, JP. And gentlemen, weather and news coming up.
Planning a party? The Paper Place on East Highway 12 in Wilmer is the place to go. Plates, cups, napkins, banners, and streamers are some of the items you will find. They also have helium balloons for all occasions. The Paper Place can supply your office or small business with break room supplies by the case. For birthdays, anniversaries, showers, weddings, and other occasions, check out what they offer. Save time. Shop the Paper Place on East Highway 12 in Wilmer first.
When you're recovering from surgery or an illness,